Yep, holding the four winds of the earth. That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea.
That's the earth and the sea, the people.
Nor on any tree.
On any tree.
And that wind that is holding back is that destruction. That's the wind that is holding back. So I'm saying that the wind blow not upon the earth or the sea or any tree. That the destruction doesn't happen, destroying them. So they're holding back the destruction. That's why when you go back to Revelation, the 9th chapter, in the 15th verse, it says, and the four angels were loose, which was prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for the slave third part of men. So the angels are holding back the four winds, they're holding back the destruction. Why? Because these angels are prepared for us for an hour, a certain hour, and a day of a certain day, in a month and a year. In other words, a certain day, a certain hour, a certain month, and a certain part of the year is the destruction going to occur. So the Most High had the angels holding back the destruction. But now the angels are being loose. Now the angels being loose. That hour, day, month, year is now approaching. This is the third part of members from the whole. You got the sons of the Most High. You got the sons of men. You got the nations. And you have the wicked. That's the third part of men.
Real quick, it's Jeremiah 51 and 2. And I was saying unto Babylon fairness, that shall fan her and shall empty her land when the day of trouble they shall be against her round about.
He's going to send to Babylon fairness. In other words, what happens when you have a fire? If you got a fireplace, they get bellows. You know what a bellow is? That device exactly. It go like, oh there you go right there.
It looks like an umbrella.
Bellows. It's kind of like an umbrella, kind of like, in a way. It kind of look like an accordion, if you will. You get the bellows, and you blow the bellows into the fire in the fireplace, which causes the fire to get bigger. That's a fan. What happens when you blow when a person creates a fire? You fan the fire, you blow on flame to make the fire bigger. So most times we send it to Babylon fan. In other words, when Babylon is being destroyed, the Most High is going to have individuals that's going to make that destruction even greater. In other words, America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction, and you're going to have other nations that are going to shoot missiles upon this place. That's going to make that fire even greater, make that destruction even greater. Because Russia is going to destroy the majority of America when you go into the book of Ezekiel 30th chapter. They're gonna play a big role. They're gonna play a big role in the destruction of America. But guess what? We know in Revelation, the 17th chapter, or the 18th chapter, speak about how America's allies, how the dragon just gonna hit the hole, right?
Yeah.
And burn it with fire.
Yeah.
So the Most High gonna send it to them fan it, man. Back to you saying you got something else?
Oh, nah, I'll go back to that. Alright, back to Jeremiah 51, I'll go at 3. And against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow.
Yeah, these archers, that's going to be the silo. And the missiles are going to be the intercontinental ballistic missiles.
And against him that lifted himself up in his brigandine, and spare you not her young men.
And spare ye not the young men. So there's going to be a lot of death and destruction. America's going to be desolate from these missiles shot over here. Okay? Oh, good idea. Oh, when you get, let me know when you get it.
I got brigandine says, a brigandine is a form of body armor from the Middle Ages. Like a coat of mail, like chain mail. Now what you said, read the scripture again, where it says brigandine, brother?
Yeah, it says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. And against him that lifted himself up in his brigandine.
So if you know, a brigandine is a coat of arms, but someone used to war. If he lifted himself up in his brigandine, then he boasted himself in his war. His might. That's what scripture says. Exactly, he boasted himself in his might and his weapons. Warfare. That's how scripture says. Army strength. So scripture what? That term wouldn't have to see. That's Jeremiah 49 and 16, if I'm not mistaken. So it all ties in, so scripture. It all ties in. You know? Right there.
That says, and spare ye not her young men.
Yeah, the young men are not going to be spared. They're going to be annihilated in this Third World War.
It says, destroy ye utterly all her hosts.
All the hosts are armies. All the hosts going to be destroyed in this third world war. And mainly when Yahweh shall return with the angels, man. He's going to finish off the remainder.
Yeah, because you know it says that he boasts himself up in this bricky thing. So the Most High's gonna cause that bricky thing is supposed to be destroyed. Because he bragged that his military is indestructible. So the Most High will have to intervene and show how destructible his army really is. Thus slain Shapur in the land of the Chaldeans.
That's here in America. Babylon the Great.
I'm sorry, thus the slain Shapur in the land of Chaldeans.
Yeah, can I say something about that? The little Chaldeans was the ancient magi of ancient Babylon. The practice walking the path was a walking. Witchcraft.
Witchcraft is witchcraft too.
Yeah.
You got it.
I was thinking of the names of games. Yeah. They practice witchcraft. Oh, you need a joint?
Yeah, about to head out.
They practice witchcraft, man. All right? That's what they do. They practice witchcraft. That's why you got an obelisk in Washington, D.C. Washington Monument, that's an obelisk. That goes back to ancient Egypt. You have an actual obelisk brought from ancient Egypt in Central Park. You got the pictogram layout of in Washington, D.C. You got all kinds of witchcraft images in the society. Okay?
You know, after this guy, what his name, Chadwick Bosworth, after he died, they had everybody throwing up the Wakanda Forever pose, like that. Now that Wakanda Forever pose goes back, whatever his name is.
Nothing like that. That's the whole skull and bone shit.
It goes back to Freemasonry, which goes back to Egyptians. Now that pose goes back to the pose. You can Google it.
Go back to Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, which stands for Osiris Risen. Now, if you Google that pose, you're gonna see like this guy Aleister Crowley. You know, he's throwing up the Wakanda Forever pose.
Yeah, let me look at it right now.
Which Osiris was believed. Well, Osiris was an Egyptian deity that was believed to be the god of the dead or the god of the underworld. So that's what the Lord called this the land of Chaldeans, because the Chaldeans was the priesthood of ancient Babylon. So they dealt with the enchantments. Like look up the word magic or magician. Now a magician is somebody that have the ability to put enchantments on people. That's why you have the word witchcraft. Now craft itself means to have the ability to do something. You know what I'm saying? Now you have the word witch, you have the word craft. Witch goes back to the Wicca, which goes back to dealing with spirits and enchantments. Then you have craft. That's part of the word, which is the ability to what's the word? Enchant certain spirits. You got certain witches that have higher demonic spirituality than other witches. Like you got Aleister Crowley. To this day, Aleister Crowley, he's looked at as a high reverence warlock.
And also when you go into it, the Illuminati does a lot of hand signs. You know, hands can symbolize authority, power, and hand is how you give and receive information. If you're angry at a person, what a person might do, they might use their hand and stick at the middle finger. A person might give you a thumbs up. A person may point. So hand is used to give and receive information. So like the brother mentioned, that whole Wakanda Forever hand sign, it goes back to the pharaohs and ancient Egypt. That's what it all goes back to. As a matter of fact, if the scripture in Proverbs 6 chapter, it's speaking with his hand. You can even apply it to him. You can even apply it to that.
Proverbs 6 and 12. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth.
Yeah, walking with the froward mouth, meaning he walketh in pride. Go ahead.
He winketh with his eyes. He speaketh with his feet.
He's speaking with his, so he winks with his eyes. And the person winks. Look up the wink. Look up wink. Exactly. You know, wink gotta have a deeper definition to it. Speak with his feet, and your feet is how you move about.
teach it with his fingers.
And he teaches with his fingers. And that's what they do. They always throw up different kinds of hand signs. They're throwing up, I'm not gonna do it, like a so-called blood sign. When they put the index finger and the thumb together and 3 fingers up, that's the sign of the divine king. Look it up, it's in the Codex Magical book. That's the sign of the divine king. That's why every time you turn around, these celebrities always throwing up their hand signs. And they throw up them hand signs to indicate to other members of these secret fraternal orders that they down with the program. Oh, you got that?
Wink. Close and open one eye quickly, typically to indicate that something is a joke or a secret.
See? See? You heard good? You good?
All right, is a joke or a secret or as a signal of affection or greeting.
See, as something that's a joke or a secret or symbolized what?
Or a secret or as a signal of affection or greeting.
A symbol of affection or a greeting. You know they wink with their eyes to show that something is a secret. Because it's a secret, but it's a secret hidden in plain sight. It's a secret that's hidden in plain sight.
Same thing. What's the name said? Because we know, the mob go back to secret societies, right?
Yeah.
So this dude, Sammy the Bull Gravano, he was like, when we used to see certain people like a certain high rankers or other families, we don't go by and be like, yo, what's going on? We might do a head nod or something. Because it's a secret, because it's like a secret society. That's what he said.
Exactly. You got something, brother?
Yeah, this is definition for magic or magician under the Smith Bible Dictionary. It says magic is the science or practice of invoking spirits. Or it said magic is the science or practice of invoking spirits.
So magic is the science or practice of invoking spirits. You look at the word invoke, I think it means to call or something like that.
I think so.
I-N-V-O-K-E, I think it means to call. So it invokes certain spirits. Like the Hollywood. The term Hollywood goes back to the wood taken from the holly tree that warlocks and witches would use to cast spells upon people.
Yeah, it means force. You get the word vocal.
Exactly, it's the call.
Yeah.
So it calls certain spirits. And what does Hollywood do? It channels certain spirits by the messages that's put out there on the screen.
The different symbolisms, certain buzzwords, keywords.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, you brought it out already, right?
Like for example, please go ahead, read out.
Invoke, cite, or appeal to someone or something as an authority for an action or in support of an argument.
There you go. Like,
let's go ahead.
Get out.
No, I was gonna say, like you had that video with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, and it depicts 2 lesbians being in the garden during the time of Genesis, and it's just, they have the apple there, and they have a serpent, that's around them.
Right.
Puts in the idea that Eve was a lesbian or homosexuality, and then at the same time, they sample the song. There's some hoes in this house. You hear that anthem playing in the background. So it's pushing the idea of hypersexuality and young women to be sluts. That's an enchantment. Because now little girls hear it, and what they start doing, they go on YouTube and they start twerking. Then they upload the video and they have twerk challenges. They on TikTok twerking.
Like what you call what's up? Like television. When you watch television, you turn the channel, right? Everything is on a different channel. What does a medium do? People tell you don't go to a medium, don't go to one that practices divination. What they do, they call spirit. They're known as mediums. Because what is a medium? A medium is a middle between 2 points. Like if I say hot and cold, what's the medium between hot and cold? Warm. So the medium is the part in the middle between 2 points. So the medium, you have the person, like Saul. When Saul went to the witch at Endor, remember that? You had Saul, and you had the witch, you had the spirit of Samuel that was called. So that witch was the medium. Television is the medium. you're on one end, and on the other end, television is giving you what? It feeds from that broadcast. Every time you turn the channel, each channel is channeling a different spirit. One minute you turn the channel, it's a horror movie on. Another minute you turn the channel, it's something telling you about to worship money. Another thing is sex. Another thing is violence. Every which way you turn. So it's channeling a certain spirit, certain demons. So America's that place. And mind you, Hollywood is the biggest entity on the world when it comes to movies. So America gotta be that.
Yeah. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Right, so we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Why? Because Yahweh Shai has opened up our mind to be able to see it. He's anointed our eyes with eyesight. See, back at that time, in Laodicea, they actually had a school for ophthalmology, where they actually had an eyesight to be able to cure people of an ailment in their eyes. But we anointed our eyes with a spiritual eyesight, an eyesight that allows us to see through the dark. I mean, an eyesight that allows us to see through things that are hidden. Because when something is in the dark, it's hidden, you can't see it. That's why when you're dark, you feel around. You feel around for a light spirit, right? But the Most High has given us eyes to see through the dark. It's pretty how about Shai.
And I'm glad you mentioned that song too, right? Because also it's considered an anchor. And like in psychology, I know you brothers know in psychology, but if you wanna get someone to do something, like they heard the song, it's an anchor. So when they go commit these acts, the next time they hear the song, they could visualize what they did, the horse shit they did before, and then ready to do it again. Because it's called an anchor. In psychology, you anchor the response. It could be a touch, it could be or a sound, or you moving an object or a visual.
Right.
You know?
Right. You read there that Satan should get an advantage of us. Now, you look at the word advantage. Now, the word advantage itself means to set up a conditional circumstance that puts one in a superior situation. So that's how he's doing it. And the way he's using disadvantage is deception, is enchantment. Because the other Apostle Kabar did a video about woman's lib and the whole purpose of it, which we understand that it was to destroy the family structure, so that way they can have more access to the children. Mm-hmm. And when they have more access to the children, they know they could produce the character that's desirable to them.
Exactly.
So that's his advantage, because now you have a society of retarded people. People are really have mental illness. Only in this society you have more than two genders. You know, the Most High created a male gender and a woman gender. That's it. Nothing else. There's no such thing of gender neutral. But only in this society it makes sense.
I got something real quick. Genesis, Wisdom of Solomon 14:12. It says, for the devising of idols, I'll start from 11. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles, should there be a visitation. So the Most High is going to visit the idols of the heathen. So guess what? That store out there in Mecca will be visited. The pyramids will be visited. The pyramids ain't going to be standing when the kingdom is set up. The Sphinx ain't going to be standing when the kingdom of heaven is set up. That image of that so-called white Jesus out there in Brazil, that ain't going to be standing up. It says, because the Most High going to cast down all these idols, to mention the book of Micah. It says, because in the creature of the Most High, they are becoming an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men. So they become stumbling blocks to they're an abomination, but also they're a stumbling block to the souls of men. What is a stumbling block? It's a block that's put in your path that you stumble over. It impedes your progress. Like Yahweh Shai was a stumbling block, because they stumbled over the fact that Yahweh Shai was the Messiah. In order for you to be saved, you had to believe in him. So he was like a stumble in the way, a stone in the way that they stumbled over. So idols are a stumbling block to the souls of men. So they see these idols and they worship the idols of God. And what happens is their souls become devoted to worshiping the false feet, breaking the first two commandments. Right? Go to that? Who was reading? You read that?
No.
I was still reading. Sorry.
Check what's
I finished that. more to
So
that?
it's saying to give Vanna to look at that. Alright, so.
I'll take that.
Alright, go ahead.
It says, and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. There you go. It's a snare to the feet of the unwise. So your feet are quick to learn evil, but your feet become snared, bad trouble. You know? Because you're not wise. The most side is, you were ignorant of Satan's devices. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication. So once idols began to be devised, that's when spiritual fornication began. And you know you had idols back in the garden, back during the time of Adam and Eve in the garden. You had individuals out there throughout the world that worship before God. It says, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. All right? There was something I wanted to get, it kind of slipped my mind, but never that.
Alright, this is 2 Corinthians 10 and 3. But though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
Yeah, though we walk in the flesh, we're not warring after the flesh. We're warring against demons, man.
Yeah,
It's a spiritual battle.
Right, so it says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. That's what it actually means to be carnal. That's a person walking in the flesh. The word carnal, like the word, that's what it's important to understand words. The word carnal itself just means flesh. It's derived from the Latin word carne, this means flesh. So a person that's carnal, that's a person that's walking in the flesh. That's a person that needs to see something. You need to feel something.
see it to believe it.
Yeah, exactly. To see it to believe it, to know that it's in existence.
Notice I got the physics in front of my head. This is the blue letter. It says, let's see if I can find it. Real quick.
I read it again. All right, fine. 2 Corinthians 10 and 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. But we actually in the flesh, you know, there's a spirit within us, and then there's our flesh. Our flesh is comprised of our building that the Most High gave us. But we don't feed off the temptation of the flesh.
Right. It says, this is the word flesh in 2 Corinthians 23. Talk to God. And it says, fleshly, carnal, having the nature of flesh, i.e. under the control of the sign. You can take pictures of the sign.
Yeah, that's what.
Under the control of under the control of the human appetite, governed by mere human nature, not by the spirit of the Most High. It says, having the nature of the flesh, i.e. sensual, controlled by human appetite, governed by human nature, instead of the spirit of the Most High. So a person that's in the flesh is a person that's governed by the human nature, governed or ruled by the human nature, not by the spirit. They walk through the lust of the flesh. They're not walking through the spirit, they're walking through the lust of the flesh, wrath, envy, sin, and things of that nature. All right, you'll read the book of Galatians.
Yeah. It's a little more.
But we're not warring after the flesh. Though we're in the flesh, we're not warring after the flesh.
Yes.
So we're physically in the flesh, but we aren't warring in the flesh. We're not here choking people out.
Yeah, no.
Cutting people heads off, hanging people. So we're in the flesh, but we're not warring after the flesh, but it's a spiritual battle. Right?
It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
See that? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Do we have swords out here? Do we have guns? No. Weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
It's not things you actually physically put your hands on.
Exactly.
You know, somebody come up against it, we can just grab a Bible and beat them over the head with it.
Exactly.
We gonna the weapons, the spiritual things. You know, we gotta take the scriptures.
Yes.
And that's our weapons, and that's how we combat a spiritual element. It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds.
Now, can you look at the word strongholds, brother? Greek?
I gotta go to a different site.
Look at Greek. See that?
Check Corinthians 10 and 5.
You know what? I'm here right now, so I'll get it for you. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. That's the word of casting down. You said casting down a what?
It says, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds.
To the pulling, now look at that word stronghold. Right? It says, the word in the Greek is achurama. And it says, of the arguments and reasonings by which a disputant endeavors to fortify his opinion and defend it against his opponent. So a stronghold is something that you use to fortify or protect. Like if I say, you have a lot of fortitude, you got a lot of strength, a lot of courage. So a stronghold is something that an army uses to fortify their land, or fortify their territory, to protect their territory. So these strongholds that's being pulled down are arguments that people use to fortify or strengthen their opinion against them. So they're saying, oh no, the theory of evolution. Oh no, or the Bible comes from this, the Bible comes from that. Jesus was a white man, it don't matter what color he is. All nations could be saved. That's arguments and reasoning that people are using to fortify their opinion.
Yeah, they like how it goes. They have their truth, they refuge.
Yeah, something like that.
You know, so that's
Lies their refuge.
Lies their refuge. Because like deep down inside, they know what we're saying is true, but it's an uncomfortable truth.
Yep.
So they look at different lies and reasoning, a place of refuge to believe in their mind that the events is not going to happen.
Exactly.
The events such as America not going to be destroyed, the dollar's not going to crash, fame is not going to come. So they look for reasons to find that how we could be wrong about these events not happening.
Well, we're pulling them strongholds down.
We're breaking them down.
Breaking them down with the scriptures. That's how it's like when people say, oh, reincarnation is not in the Bible. That's a stronghold that we're pulling down. All nations can be saved. Stronghold is pulling down.
So I got a definition for stronghold.
I got it.
A place where a particular cause or belief is strongly defended or upheld.
Verse 5, it says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High.
We're casting down all those imaginations that expose itself against the knowledge of the Most High. So any idea, any imagination, anything you think in your mind that exalts itself over this word, you're casting that down and you're destroying those imaginations. The truth. Go on.
And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahushua.
So we're bringing into obedience. So we're read that part again. I'm sorry.
It says, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahushua.
I'm sorry, one more time.
And bring it into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahushua.
So we're bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the Most High. So guess what? Their mind is a stronghold. So we're casting down that stronghold. Now that the stronghold is being casted down, now that we're going to this, but now we're reading captivating those thoughts. We're taking those thoughts. I'm not saying that. So we're casting down the strongholds. Now that we're casting down the strongholds in their mind, now we're going into their mind and we're taking over those thoughts into the past. You see how it's comparing us casting down those thoughts and taking those thoughts captive to a person conquering the land and taking the people captive. But what we're taking captive is the thoughts in your mind. We're taking it captive. Taking it hot.
So spiritual warfare.
Spiritual warfare. More to that?
That's it.
Yeah.
I was gonna break down real quick, like imagination. Imagination is a collective of images.
Right.
You know, that's like your TV. You have TVs, a collective of different images. That's how they form cartoons.
Okay, yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah. So going back to Revelation.
Oh, where it comes. 09?
Yeah, but you was at before.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what That's what we do week in and week out.